Hi everyone, it's Miss Oka. We have gone through about 2 months of online learning now, and what a journey it has truly been. I know that many students, teachers, and staff have expressed feeling a sometimes overwhelming amount of anxiety. There's no hiding it, we're in a pandemic, and none of us have had to deal with learning and working from home in the conditions that we're all in now. On top of that, we're all given the challenge to navigate learning from home, which in some cases might be comfortable and easy, but we understand that that's not always the case. So I wanted to provide you all with a quick presentation about coping with anxiety that you might be having and to remind you that you're not alone. Even if you're not experiencing anxiety, I hope that you take the time to watch this interactive presentation and learn something new, and maybe support someone you know that does have anxiety. Let's get started. So remember the counselors asked you all how you were feeling being away from school? The responses showed us that there were a variety of thoughts and feelings going on at the middle school and at the high school level. Many of you feel bored, okay, I completely get that. But some of you also felt worried, stressed, or even confused. It's normal to feel all of these things, and even if your thoughts change from day to day. What's going to be important is that we identify what it is that we are feeling and move forward with learning healthy ways to address them. So what's the point of this presentation again? Well, my first goal is that you learn what anxiety is and how it develops. This will be a quick overview for a lot of you, but it's good to remind ourselves what exactly is going on with our mind and body. Next, we are going to develop strategies to lessen some of the anxious thoughts that might be running through our head. There are so many coping strategies out there, but I'm going to really narrow that down and just focus on a few. And lastly, we will also have some reflection time and practice some strategies together. I tried to make this presentation as interactive as possible, so be prepared to participate. Instead of hearing me talk the entire time, let's watch this 2-minute video together.
You know what anxiety feels like. We all do. Everyone experiences anxiety in some way or another. It's something that connects all of us together. Why we feel anxiety and what it really is, that may surprise you. Without anxiety, we'd all be in serious trouble. As soon as your brain senses you're in danger, a little piece of it, called the amygdala, kicks in. It gets your body ready to react. That could mean fight, run away, or shut down. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. This reaction goes back millions of years to our distant animal ancestors. Animals whose amygdalae were more sensitive to danger were more likely to stay alive and off the menu. Over millions of generations, this developed into the system we all know as anxiety. So you see, anxiety itself is not all bad. But when there's no immediate life or death threat, and your amygdala keeps telling your body that you're in danger, that's when anxiety becomes a problem. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between getting eaten and public speaking or failing a test. Human society has only existed for a relatively short time. It's messy and complicated and confusing, and our amygdalae just haven't had time to catch up. So sometimes, when we're in uncomfortable situations, our brains misread the risk and overreact. Our hearts beat faster and we breathe heavily, pulling more oxygen into our bodies. The muscles in our arms and legs tense up and fill with blood. Our skin perspires to cool us down. This would all be great if we needed to fight or run, but instead, we just feel tense and sweaty. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When things trigger our anxiety, sometimes we try to avoid them, like our ancestors avoiding a predator. But that can cause problems when those triggers are important parts of life, like going to school or meeting new people, things that won't just give up and go away. So how does knowing all this help? Well, it starts with remembering what's really going on. There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's just your amygdala trying to tell you it thinks you're in danger, even if it gets confused about how much danger you're really in. Understanding why we feel anxiety is an important step in learning to manage it.
So again, I think a key takeaway is that our anxiety is adaptive. So anxiety helps us prepare for real danger, such as a dog chasing us after our morning run, or for performing at our best, like getting ready for an AP exam or doing a speech. But when we experience anxiety, it triggers that fight, flight, or freeze response and prepares our bodies to defend themselves. But when the anxiety is overwhelming our everyday life and we can't really function, we really need to take a step back and identify when it is truly becoming unhealthy. Okay, so we understand that it's adaptive, but where does this anxiety even come from? So for a lot of us, and probably most of us, it's environmental stressors. So this can be difficulties at school, relationship problems, family issues, maybe drinking too much coffee, or being in a pandemic. It can also be related to genetics. People who have family members with anxiety disorder are more likely to experience anxiety themselves. Also, medical factors play a role, such as symptoms of a different disease, the effects of medication, or the stress of an intensive surgery or prolonged recovery. It can also deal with our brain chemistry. Psychologists define many anxiety disorders as misalignments of hormones and electrical signals in the brain. It could be a variety of all of these causes. With the help of my Bitmojis, I'm actually going to go over some signs and symptoms of recognizing whether or not you may be experiencing anxiety. Anxiety can manifest itself in a variety of different ways, and it can be really hard to explain to someone, just like this meme portrays. You might be explaining to someone that you've been having trouble sleeping, that you're constantly worried, or you've been having bad headaches. But maybe you can't identify all the reasons why. Well, what it is, it might be anxiety. So we will review the physical, emotional, behavioral, and cognitive signs together. The physical symptoms that you might have include rapid heart rate, muscle tension, changing in breathing patterns, either really shallow or very rapid, maybe some nervous sweating. You might feel dizzy or even lightheaded. Many times people experience headaches, and this can lead to migraines. And your sleep can be really impaired, either not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep, or even feeling fatigued throughout the day. Some emotions, feelings that might be weighing more heavily on us might include fear, dread, or panic, even over the smallest things. You might feel angry or easily frustrated. You might be irritable, disappointed, or just sad. You might feel really restless, where you cannot regulate your emotions, or feel constantly on edge, not being able to calm yourself. Anxiety can impact our most positive emotions, like your ability to feel happy or even excited. With anxiety, you also notice a change in your behaviors. You might want to avoid social situations even more than just the social distancing that we're all doing. With that, you might also lose interest in the things that used to make you happy. You might have a preference for just doing things that are easy or familiar. There might be a heightened need for control, or you might have difficulty concentrating. Your way of thinking can also change over time with anxiety. You might constantly be thinking, what if? Like, what if I get sick? What if someone I know gets sick? What if I can't raise my grades? You fixate on these thoughts. You constantly worry about all the physical symptoms that you might also be experiencing. You might experience tunnel vision, so focusing only on those anxious thoughts. Your thoughts might also just default into the negative, like nothing in your life will turn around. With all of these signs and symptoms, it's clear that anxiety can impact learning and all of the online learning that you're trying to do. Our memory already has pretty limited room, and when you are anxious, the intrusive thoughts that you're having start competing for that very limited room. Anything that has to do with that fight or flight threat is constantly put in your mind first, so it's understandable that you cannot really concentrate on anything else. When we're anxious, we can also get very tired very quickly, and it can be hard for us to focus on online learning at all. It can even look like you're not engaged, even when you are trying so hard to actually get work done. So if anxiety can impact many different parts of our lives, how do we even begin to deal with it? Well, if you Google anything right now about anxiety and COVID-19, you're likely to find articles on top of images like this of what you can do to settle your anxiety and your stress. Sometimes having so many resources in front of us can actually cause us to have more anxiety instead of help what it's trying to prevent. So I wanted to narrow that search down for you and concentrate on only a few coping strategies to get you started. 3 coping strategies that we're going to focus on are, the first one would be staying connected. Now, I don't mean staying on the computer all day long without taking a break. What I mean is staying connected with your friends, your family, your teachers or counselors, anyone that can support you. The second coping strategy is creating a routine and structure, and this can help lessen that anxiety that you're having, and it can give you some control back into your everyday life. You can be more productive throughout the day, and you can set realistic goals for yourself. And the last one is practicing personal self-care. This is something that we'll all explore together. There are so many strategies, but I'm going to narrow it down to just a few examples. So let's go over the first one together, staying connected. I want you to take a moment to identify one person that supports you. One person that you can talk to about your anxiety or other stressors that might be going on in your life. I want you to also think about how you can stay connected with them, whether you're living with them or if you're kind of at a distance right now. Think of one way that you can keep communication going. Be specific. So for example, one person that might support me is my older cousin. I can stay connected with him by calling him every Wednesday after work. This is just a quick reflection that I want you to actually complete right now. Either enter your responses by going directly to that link, or take out your mobile device, turn on your camera, and scan the QR code. This will take you directly to the website. Your responses will be in a large word cloud, and I'll share the results with you at the end of the presentation. Go ahead and take a few minutes to complete this. Okay, go ahead and wrap up that last sentence that you might be sharing. So if you're seeking more support during this time, I want you to either write down one additional number or put the number in your phone right now. The California Warm Line is for non-emergencies, and you can be connected with someone for any type of emotional support. You can call at any time. They're ready to listen 24/7. The crisis text line is if you're experiencing a crisis that you might need to call a licensed counselor. They will connect you with additional support if you are in more need as well. The Trevor Project is for LGBTQ youth that may need additional support at this time. You can call, text, or chat with someone online. And last but not least, of course, I wanted to also point you in the direction of your school counselor at Preuss. We're available to talk to you or text between 8 a.m. to 4:30. Sometimes it's also nice to be supported by someone that's not in your immediate circle. With these support lines, you will have a non-judgmental person to speak with or to text with. All right, strategy number 2, creating routine and structure. This is the remote learning schedule that the counselors have made for you and have shared via Google Classroom. What you can see here is an hour-by-hour breakdown of each day during the week. Creating structure of which class you need to be reviewing and how your afternoon looks can help reduce the anxiety that you feel because you're creating some structure instead of just being lost and not really knowing what to do next. You can see that the afternoon schedule is just an example. My recommendation is that you save this photo and even make it your desktop wallpaper so that this is the first thing that you see when you open your computer in the morning. We understand that the schedules can vary too, so we created templates of this so you can create your own. If you feel like that schedule was a bit overwhelming, maybe just start with the basics. So creating a to-do list will be easier and manageable for your own schedule. You can either use the template that you see here or you can just create your own. Also, making a daily schedule that focuses one day at a time might seem more manageable. For instance, on Sunday evening, I might plan out how my day on Monday will look, and we'll just break it down hour by hour. If you really don't feel motivated to do any of this, the school counselors understand. Sometimes the anxiety is preventing you from even wanting to start anything. I want to remind you that we're here to help you in this process and to get you started. Maybe just call or text your counselor and let them know that you need some help. What I've done with students so far is I help them navigate their Google Classrooms, their Edmodo classrooms, and I create the first schedule with the student together. That way you have something to work off of and you can modify where you need to. The counselors can help you set realistic goals for each class and will make the content and the assignments that you're receiving more digestible. The counselors believe in you, your teachers believe in you, you just need to start somewhere. All of the resources that you see on this page, including the one that was just in the previous slide, they're all saved in a Google Drive folder that the counselors have shared with you on the Counseling Google Classrooms. I've also hyperlinked on this page all of the documents so you can review it after this presentation. Okay, we're on our final coping strategy, practicing self-care. I do want to mention that staying connected with friends, family members, and creating some structure and routine, they're also considered aspects of self-care, but I will review a few others and we can practice one together. So when asked the question, do you take care of yourself? Most of us will answer yes. We'd even think, what kind of question is this? Of course I take care of myself. I shower daily. When asked, in what ways do you personally take care of yourself? Well, that's a little bit more tricky. Self-care is an activity that we do deliberately in order to take care of our mental, emotional, and our physical health and all of the other aspects that are displayed here. Although it's a simple concept in theory, it's sometimes overlooked. Good self-care is key to improved mood and to reduce anxiety. Although there are many different types of self-care, I'm going to break down some of the personal self-care items for us. Here are some simple examples of how you can practice self-care. You can practice mindfulness. So some examples can be doing meditations, deep breathing exercises, or practicing grounding techniques. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are, what we're doing, and not be overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. This can definitely help reduce the anxiety. Exercise. This is maybe something you're doing already in your PE Google Classroom, and doing some activities or just going on a walk or run while practicing social distancing can be something that you do in order to reduce that anxiety. You can also practice other hobbies like reading, journaling, painting, music, baking, photography. Spend time doing things that you enjoy, that you otherwise wouldn't have time for. If you need some additional ideas, revisit the PowerPoint and click on the self-care calendar after the presentation is done. One thing that we're going to practice together is a little bit of mindfulness. You can download this free app. It's called Stop, Breathe, and Think. It helps you really practice mindfulness and provides you with a variety of activities that you can do on a weekly basis. I'm going to play this video and we are going to do this 2-minute exercise together. If you can take a moment to go to a quiet space in your home, I would try to do that. If you can't find a quiet place, that's okay. Maybe just put on some headphones or even close your eyes. Before the video starts, I want you to identify what it is that's causing you anxiety. If there are multiple factors contributing, maybe just identify one. While we do this short activity, try to let go of that anxious thought. So if you've downloaded the app, it's going to ask you how you're doing. And then you can explore different types of calming coronavirus anxiety applications. We're going to do this mini safe house activity.
Everyone wants to have a sense that they can relax and feel safe. But sometimes life, with all its stressors, can make us feel like we might not always have that. The good thing is, we can use our imagination to get a break from those stressors. I'd like to invite you to imagine yourself on a mountaintop. You notice a path leading down the mountain, and a small animal's walking down the path. Something tells you to follow it. So you begin to walk down this path, following the animal. And you realize that this small animal is leading you to this house. You walk up to the house, reach into your pocket, and pull a key out. You use the key to open the door. Now this house is your own safe place. No one else knows it's here. Take a look around and notice what the room you are sitting in looks like. If you see a place to sit down to relax, breathing deeply, in a state of safety and relaxed comfort, breathing in and breathing out. And you notice the small animal, which came in with you, has been sitting next to you the whole time. He gently whispers something to you. Try to notice what it says. The animal then moves slowly to the door. You take this as a sign that it's now time to leave. You walk towards the door, open it up, close it behind you and lock it, putting the key back in your pocket. You then begin to follow the animal back up the mountain. As you're walking, you lose sight of the animal, but you find yourself back at the top with the utmost ease. Take one more look around you and try to feel the energy of the place again. The breeze, sounds, any sensations of this magical place.
So that's the activity. If you enjoyed that, I would definitely recommend downloading that app. So that's all I have for now. If you want to see the responses from the Staying Connected reflection, the results can be found through the first link. I would also really appreciate if you gave me some feedback about the presentation. Your honest opinion is always welcome. It will only take you a minute and it's linked on here, or you can complete the form through your counselor's Google Classroom. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope that you can identify at least one thing that you will do in order to reduce your anxiety. And if you're not struggling with anxiety, I hope that you at least share an idea with a friend or a family member that is. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about what was presented today. As always, please take care of yourselves. The school counselors miss you dearly. Until next time.